This is a podcast about one woman's mission to help entrepreneurs and business owners write better business books. Each week, we tackle your writing excuses, because there are excuses too, and help you beat the blank page of doom so that you can write the book that'll grow your life and your business. Now here's your host, Vicky Fraser.
Hello and welcome to the 1000 Authors Show. I'm Vicky Quinn Fraser, and this week I am bringing you the second half of the Weird and Wonderful Author Showcase. So last week you heard from Jocelyn Brady, Sarah Maguire and Kenda MacDonald, and they were all fabulous. This week you are going to hear excerpts from the manuscripts of Melanie Osborne and Hillary Weiss. And I'm really excited about it because Mel's book is all about her woodland, her love for trees and nature. And if you are feeling exhausted and, like life is a bit too much, Mel's excerpt will be a balm for your soul. And she's already got a fan club of people who want her to make an audiobook of this as well, because it's so soothing. She will take you into her woodland with her and you will never want to leave. And for the final author in the showcase is Hillary Weiss, who is going to be reading from her manuscript about BIGNESS. And if anyone has ever made you feel like you are too much, you need Hillary's book. It's absolutely fantastic. She talks about the power of filling a room and allowing your ideas to transport you to somewhere really magical and special, and owning the space that you're in. And so many of us, especially women, find it very difficult to do that. So I really hope that you enjoy these two excerpts. I'm so proud of all of my authors, and I cannot wait to see what comes out of round 2. So without further ado, enjoy. Melanie Osborne. Hi, Mel. Thank you so much for being here this evening. Mel is, I'm going to try and spotlight her. My assistant's done it. Hi, Mel. Melanie is a designer, a trained potter, a lover of woodland crafts, and Weird and Wonderful Book Society author. And Mel is one of those people who, when you meet her, you just feel peaceful and safe and loved. And I don't know how you do it, Mel. I've known Mel for a lot of years now, and you're just a beautiful human. I think that's partly because of your connection with nature, and particularly trees, but more on that in a moment. Mel's day job is really full on. She runs several businesses related to building and development, transforming old redundant farm buildings into beautiful, welcoming homes, preserving historic buildings, working within communities to provide accommodation and support for homeless people and for others who are vulnerable, and working with her husband Simon on their 26 acres of woodland. Joe, we need to stop complaining about our little woodland. Developing it for future generations to enjoy, to support local wildlife, to educate children, and to provide a green space for people to breathe in, which is where Mel's book comes in. She wanted to share her love of trees and the benefits they bring, not only for the planet, but for our souls, our health, and our sanity. And that is enough from me. Mel, please tell us a little bit about why you're writing this book, and then read your excerpt.
Hello. Yeah, well, when you are, I hope you can hear me because I'm not sure my internet connection, but when you are passionate about something and it lives and breathes in you and you realize its value, as well as being passionate about it, and you just want to be able to share that so that others can benefit from it. And I can't only explain that it's something that I have written about in blogs. I have, I think it's 20 years now since we planted our first woodland, and it's been such a journey, and it's just something that has literally sprouted, almost literally, visually, or should I say, from in my mind, it has sprouted out my fingertips, because it's something that I so want to just be and to, just, how am I saying this? To share the joy of every day throughout the year. So the book is in 2 parts. First, demonstrates the story, how we started and how it all began, and how the idea of planting a wood from scratch began, and the trials and tribulations of actually achieving it. And the second part of the book is following the woodland on a monthly basis, because it's the changes and the way that you observe woodland and there is so much more than just trees and greenery and flowers, and it comes from noticing. And that's something I'd like to share. And so I've chosen a bit that hopefully demonstrates what the book is about in general. So here we go. It's July, sweltering heat, 29 degrees in the shade. That's exceptional for this cooler, moisture-rich West Country, particularly at 650 feet as we are. I've had an exhausting day on site. There have been meetings, decisions, sorting problems. I drive home shattered, hot, and long for the peace and quiet of the wood. Despite the overgrown paths with 6-foot stems of fallen hogweed crisscrossing the walkways and brambles doing their best to trip me up, I negotiate a way through and push on, whilst telling myself we must get a brush cutter fixed. We must get our brush cutter fixed, or at least buy a replacement. But working on how to afford that is a problem for another day. My sponge is full. No more to give. No brain space left to think. Then all of a sudden, it's as if I'm gulping in oxygen. My lungs inflate. I can breathe again. Cool, fresh air fills my weary body with new life, and in a matter of a few short moments, I am a different person, back amongst the living, amongst friends, muscles and mind relaxed. It's a tonic like no other. And at times like this, the healing effects of woodland are quite dramatic. It's not often such a tangible change takes place, but I've noticed it on a few occasions when pushed to the limit and I am totally empty and depleted. The rejuvenating strength of trees restores balance. And some might think it's crazy, but that's just the way it is. And not until you experience it yourself, that sudden boost and that surge of revitalizing energy, are you in any doubt whatsoever of the power and magic the wood holds. Walking back, I catch myself smiling, feeling relaxed for the first time that day. And these gentle, still days in mid-July are a delight. I'm just popping out for a quick walk, I tell myself as I disappear down to the wood again, with Cat following. On return, I realise an hour and a half has passed, and I'm baffled at where the time has gone. There is so much to see, absorb, sights, sounds, smells, many different paths to wander down, leading you deep into the undergrowth. There is one spot that overlooks a large area of damp ground left outside of the perimeter fence for the deer to use. And here wild angelica flower in abundance. The domed umbels are just opening now and will last well into August with their soft white and pink mauve flowers, some held high by conspicuous dark amethyst stalks. I stop still to study a perfectly formed bloom. On just one flower head on one of many hundreds of plants, and I am awed at its perfection. I can only stand and stare, speechless at the expanse of this stunning natural planting. July is also a time for butterflies, particularly the meadow butterflies, the ringlets, the meadow browns, the small coppers, the whites, the skippers. Every step along the grassy path disturbs 2 or 3, so little clouds of fluttering beauties accompany you as you walk. I love this time of year, but I'm wary too as horseflies are on the wing. And this year there are few about. Although in bad years, they start in mid-June and you cover yourself up completely until the end of the month, else you get bitten by these silent stealth predators. And if you react to their bites, you'll find you swell up like a balloon and will need a packet of antihistamine ready. Unless, of course, you're like Simon and are lucky enough to be immune to their attacks. Despised also for their painful stings are the nettles, which thrive where sunlight filters through the canopy. There are some with purple-stained stems and others are plain green. They're all tall and straight and regal. And one group may display drooping, sad-looking flowers, whilst another flaunt wide, spreading seemingly delicate silver pearl beads, held in elegant formation resembling snowflakes, and set between alternate layers of leaf on each towering stem. Now they are at their most alluring, before the storms of summer have knocked them sideways to keel over as in drunken stupor, their stately quality lost to untidy dishevelment. July is a month of contrasts. For most of the month, long shoots of bramble tear at clothes and hair, whip at legs, cut at shins, and act as tripwires for the unwary. And then nearing the end of July, their multitude of pale lavender pink flowers fast develop into a promise of a lush, abundant harvest of sweet blackberries to enjoy throughout the autumn months. And only then are we truly grateful for their precocious presence. The weather too can contrast from heat and drought and stillness to a raging storm with torrential rain and wild winds. Now, though, it's as if all has slowed down to a halt. There's a stillness, a waiting. Even the birds are quiet. The air is warm and buzzing in the evening sunshine. And in the distance, I hear voices, and an old hay baler starts up and chugs away as it spits out old-fashioned square bales. The evening sun sends long golden fingers over open glades and lights up clumps of knapweed, bright pink amongst the golden ripening grasses. It feels timeless, as if it will be like this forever. Then there comes a day in late July when things imperceptibly change. There's an indefinable yet quite recognizable quality. A sense of autumn is detected, if only for the briefest moment, but it's there and marks the very beginning of the turn of the season and the start of the summer lull that is August.
Mel.
That's me, sorry.
Mel, I don't even know what to say. That was stunning. And I think just have a look through the chat when we're done, because I think it's going to make you sob. Honestly, that was absolutely stunning. I don't know about everybody else, but I was there in that wood with you. And I think you also have a career if you want writing descriptions and books for holiday destinations, because you can make a bloody fortune with that. That was absolutely stunning. Thank you so much.
Bless you. Thank you. It's always difficult, isn't it, to convey what you feel so intensely and passionately, and without it, to come across in the right way.
I mean, you say that and you have achieved it so beautifully. And that's the thing is tapping, and this is, a small teachable moment here for everybody, but tapping into the thing that makes your heart sing and then putting it down on paper without self-consciousness, without doubts, without fears, without worries. This is how we produce amazing writing. And you don't have to be a writer to be able to do this stuff. It's, just tap into your passion. Anyway, Mel, that was so beautiful. Thank you so much. I think everyone's going to be pre-ordering that. The passion came through in bucket loads. There are also requests for audiobooks, please. I think Yinka says she will pay you anything to make the little one calm, and please come and live at her house.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mel. That was beautiful. If anyone's got any questions for Mel about her book, her coming to stay with her, coming to live in her wood, please pop them into the chat box. We will revisit that at the end. Again, thank you, Mel. That was beautiful.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
And that's it. Sorry, I'm very emotional right now. We're down to, I'm so very proud of everybody. We are to our last author of the evening, introducing Hillary Weiss Presswood, who is a creative director, messaging strategist, coach, speaker, lover of shiny things, sentient disco ball, and Weird and Wonderful Book Society author. If someone could spotlight There we go. Thank you very much, assistants. Hillary helps hyper-competent business owners like you people turn big, brazen ideas into clear concepts that captivate the planet. And I can vouch for this because I would not be here doing what I do now in the big, bold way that I am doing it without her. She is 100% Marvelpotamus, and along with the other people in this room, is one of my favorite humans. This brilliant woman has been obsessed with expression for as long as she can remember, starting with neon green sequin baseball caps, zooming from side gig to side gig in a red and white Mini Cooper called Florence. Want to meet Florence, disco balls, and helping people create a way of selling, working, and creating that fits the person they are whilst bringing in all of the dollar and figuring out how she fits into the world along the way. Which brings me to the book Hillary is writing, and she dropped her working title into the chat earlier, but I think I'm going to let you share that. Hillary. I can't even tell you how excited I am about this because Hillary is a master storyteller and her stories are all about bigness. So I'm going to leave it there for now, but suffice it to say that if anyone has ever made you feel like you are too much, you need to read the book that Hillary is writing. So I'm going to shut up. Hillary, tell us the things and then read your story.
Oh, I'm really excited. Hi, everybody. So the working title for this book is The Disco Album, Essays on Bigness and Brightness. And it is a series of essays. I wanted to create a book kind of about my experiences being a human in the world, being in business, being born with a Godzilla of a personality, et cetera, et cetera. But I didn't really want it to be a business book necessarily. I could write one of those in my sleep. I do a lot of writing around marketing. I really wanted my books to be something far more creative that spoke to kind of the deeper philosophy of that I hold as a human being. And I had no idea what it was going to look like. And I joked in my testimonial for Weird and Wonderful Book Society, the part of the reason I joined is that my husband was going to divorce me if I didn't actually get to writing the book that I had talked about writing for like 10 years. But and that's a good joke, but I think what I most enjoyed about the whole experience is, I've had these stray ideas floating around in my brain for years. I had no idea how to make them fit together. I had no idea it was something anyone was even going to want to read or be interested in. And it had just been years of going back and forth, starting to create tiny outlines, backing up, starting to create little drafts, backing up. And I'd never really gotten anywhere. And so obviously I was immediately in for a book society that had the words weird and wonderful in it, because I consider myself, to relate to both of those adjectives. But she's really helped me. Vicky's really helped me put together something that I'm very proud of. And, while it's still a work in progress, I'm excited to bring it to you today. And what I'm going to be reading is the closing section of the first chapter, which is just entitled Bigness. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it up and let's get into it. Also, you're going to hear me refer to a Tupperware. That's a metaphor earlier in the chapter about being a little kid and walking around just feeling like I had all this empty space inside me. I was so inexperienced. I had so little knowledge of the world, and I really felt it. And it felt like walking around with an empty Tupperware inside my chest where my organs should be. So if you hear a Tupperware metaphor, that's what that relates to. All right, so let's go. I suppose at this point, we'd better define bigness, colloquially known as a big personality, being loud, or perhaps even extroversion. Did I alarm you a little with that word? Bigness, bigness, bigness. Big like New York City, big like the Grand Canyon, big like a jubilant, cheering crowd, big like a symphony orchestra, big like joy, like love, like wildness and dancing and howling at the moon. We've all got a little bigness in us waiting to burst out. I think of our bigness as an unabashedly curious and present version of ourselves, a version that's simply too potent and true to be watered down or adjusted in the moment. And I can almost feel you backing away from this book. Look, I do know that bigness itself is not particularly fashionable for those who consider ourselves more the thinking types. And while, yes, some of us were simply cursed without the modern day cool, quiet gene, and thus we must learn to exist in tandem with a world wringing its hands these days about how everyone's so noisy, The good news I have for you is this. Despite what you may have been led to believe, bigness is universal and accessible to everybody, even the most intro of verts. Bigness is a little like flow, but instead of turning inward as a state of perfect focus, it intentionally pours out of you for others to see, because bigness is meant to be witnessed, shared, and responded to. Bigness is the moment when you realize you're winning a game and the smile and maybe good-natured heckling begins. Or the moment you're on the dance floor and forget where you are or how silly you were once worried you would look. Or the moment you proudly walk out the door, shamelessly dressed in that brightly colored, sparkly, magical something that makes you feel like a glorious alien mermaid. Or the moment you've met someone new and you're both swapping stories with a surprisingly easy intimacy, making each other laugh and sigh, your bigness splashing out of both of you and creating wild, joyful currents like two rivers intersecting. Bigness is a combination of eagerness, excitement, and joy, three emotions that can be quite unbecoming to feel publicly in the wrong circles. And for just even a split second of time, it makes us fearless and wholly unembarrassed about who we are as our energy pours straight out of us and into all corners of the room we're in. Because of this, bigness, like shining brightness, can be seen as thoughtless and attention-hogging in the wrong circumstances, because after a while, we barely notice it pouring out of us at all. Existing in a joyful state of bigness can make it hard to abide by social norms that would prefer to offer us the label of cool or polite instead. And certainly, no one wants to be the person whose bigness is so loud in their ears they forget how to read a room or ask people about themselves. At its core, however, when being embraced by someone who is not an asshole, bigness isn't about forcing all eyes to go to you. Quite the opposite. It's marked by a passionate curiosity about the world. It's the china shop bull that stops thrashing and realizes it, in fact, finds all the china rather beautiful. It's the empty Tupperware with the lid open, inviting those we come across to make us full. It's a symptom of a hunger for life, a hunger to understand the people around you, and a hunger to understand the world, the way it pulses and moves, and the impact we can make on it. Bigness pushes us to forget briefly about the ever-present fear of making fools of ourselves as we open ourselves in vulnerable fashion and are poured into in kind. Of course, embracing this bigness itself comes with risks of appearing clumsy, of being seen as better in small doses, of being shamed for naked desire or curiosity. And bigness at its best seeks to inspire and be inspired, but at its worst can feel more like greed and sucking the air out of the room. But I can tell you with the purest confidence, the rewards of embracing bigness far outweigh the pitfalls. Leading into our bigness, celebrating it, and tapping into it more often makes us more resilient against risk, leads us out of dark alleyways and into brightly colored houses, and presents us with friends we'd never have known and lovers we'd never have met had we found ourselves with a taste for life, but kept our mouths closed, huddled in tiny bubbles of our own limited experiences. Bigness is the freedom to be yourself as openly and proudly as you could ever hope to wish, to embrace the hunger within you and the love you have to pour out of yourself as you take on whichever role you see fit, the firebrand, the free spirit, the friend to all, and the fool. Thanks, guys. Rounds of applause for you. Thank you, everyone.
That was incredible, Hillary. Thank you so much. I love everything about that message, because it's just everybody has bigness in them, and that is the thing that I have learned from you. Is like mwah. Thank you for sharing that. Read the comments; they're going to make you cry. Yeah, I had many things I wanted to say, and I scribbled down a few notes, and now I can't remember any of the things because emotions in my brain. But thank you so much. Please put into the chat box, please put all of your website address and your social media handles and where we can find out more about your book and where we can get on your list. And if people have questions for Hillary, please put them into the chat box. We will answer them. We'll have a few minutes in a few minutes. But yeah, this has been so great. I just wanted to point out that just the really wide variety of books that we've like touched on here this evening. They're so very different, but I really hope that you've noticed the common thread running through them is the human at the heart of it, is the human story, the connection that we build, the storytelling that we're doing, because that is the most important thing in the world. It is the thing that ties us together. It's the thing that brings humans together. It's how we learn. It's how we make connections. It's how we build relationships. It's how we change the freaking world, right? It's how we change the world for the better. It's the only way we change the world for the better. And this is why I'm so passionate about our stories mattering, and like Hillary has just been talking about bigness, bringing that bigness to everything you do, to your voice, to the books that you write, to the stories that you tell, to the podcasts that you put out there. Bring that to everything that you do. This is why I'm so passionate about getting people to write their books, because books do change the world. These 5 books, they're going to change the freaking world, people. I know they are. So you were all incredible. You were all absolutely incredible. Jocelyn, Kenda, Sarah, Melanie, Hillary, thank you so much for sharing excerpts from your books this evening. It's just been, I can't even tell you how much I've enjoyed it. And I just also want to say, like, I had no idea y'all were beat poets and performance artists. Like, all of you seriously need to, I know that 1 or 2 of you have some training in that area, but this was just incredible. Like, the performance was incredible as well. You all need to make these into audiobooks if you haven't already decided to do so, because I think they're going to be incredible. And I would also like to say that some people, when they came into Weird and Wonderful, knew they were writers. They were already writers. They already called themselves writers. That was not true for everybody. And I don't think you could tell this evening which people would have called themselves a writer and which people couldn't. And I am so proud of that. I'm so proud of all of you. It has been absolutely incredible. Your writing is amazing. Your storytelling is amazing. Your performances were amazing. Your books are going to be amazing, and more superlatives are available. Okay. If you have questions or comments, please pop them in the chat box, because I would love for people to have a bit of a Q&A at the end. But in the meantime, I do have a little bit of something to say, because these people have done all of the work themselves. They've done all of the work themselves, but it really does help having a group of people and a mentor to keep you on track. And this group of people in this room are just, the support that they've given each other has been off the charts. It's been so wonderful. It's made me cry many times. I'm trying not to cry. I've got like a snotty nose and everything. That's terrible. Try not to cry now. But yeah, it really does help. And so if you know that a book can help you grow as a person, it can help your business grow, you need to make sure it's the right book. Not a boring book, not a cookie cutter book, which is why all of these books are so different. The core story is the same. It's about what they're passionate about. If you're ready to write it now, write it now. Like Jocelyn talks about Deathbed You a lot. We might not get it next year. I mean, for God's sake, if 2020 taught us nothing else, it's that the universe will fuck with us, right? So write your damn book. So that was the very first ever Weird and Wonderful author showcase. And now you've heard excerpts from all of those people. I hope that you are going to go and follow them. I hope you're going to go and find them on social media and follow them and keep an eye out for when their books are coming out and buy their books. And if you are thinking you would like to write a book of your own, or you've had an idea, do it. Don't wait until tomorrow. There might not be a flipping tomorrow. So if you want to write your own book, start now. There are so many resources on my website, so many free resources, and even better, we've got Write Night coming up on February the 24th. That's Thursday, February the 24th is Write Night. Get your tickets now. It's an absolute bargain. 4 hours split into 40-minute writing sections. And in between, there will be creative writing prompts, there will be games, and there will be an opportunity to chat and get to know the people who are there. I have people who have been to every single one of these. In fact, one of them has asked for more. I can't do more because my head would explode. I can't cope with late nights very well. But yeah, this Write Night is happening February 24th. Come and start your book. Come and start your book there. I've also got writing play shops coming up as well. If you come along to Write Night, you will hear all about them. The idea will be to get you articulating your big book idea and writing a bit of a synopsis so that you can start writing your book. Maybe if you're thinking, maybe this is, maybe I could write a book, I don't know, come to one of my creative writing workshops and find out. So without any further ado, Podfly, thank you so much for editing this so beautifully every week. Harriet, thank you for just organising my entire life. My Weird and Wonderful Showcase authors, thank you so much for trusting me to help you write your books. Love you all, and I can't wait to hold them in my hands and shout about them from the rooftops. We'll be back same time next week. Until then, keep writing.
Thanks for listening. You can find links and show notes on the website at moxiebooks.co.uk/podcast, where you can also sign up for the best daily emails in the multiverse and find loads of free resources to help you write your book. We'll be back the same time next week with more tales from the book writing trenches and the latest on what the tiny sheeps have been up to.